Switching gears to politics, mixed reactions this afternoon from President Trump's address to a joint session of Congress. The president, laid out his vision for the future of the nation. Fox's Doug Lazater with more.
This was the longest presidential speech to Congress in modern history, clocking in at about an hour and 40 minutes. And the division among lawmakers was evident.
Our spirit is back. Our pride is back.
6 weeks into his second term, President Trump took a victory lap in front of a joint session of Congress and highlighted the dozens of executive orders he has signed so far.
We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years.
Here at home, the president said pain from tariffs will be temporary and claimed that federal spending cuts will help bring down inflation. He also defended his immigration policies.
We quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded.
Perhaps no big surprises, but President Trump did announce the arrest of an ISIS terrorist suspected of being involved with the 2021 Abbey Gate bombing in Afghanistan. Plenty of applause from Republicans last night. The Democrats, of course, did not join in, but they did not come empty-handed, holding up small signs protesting Trump's policies. Congressman Al Green, though, did not stay silent, heckling Trump before he was escorted from the chamber.
I'm willing to suffer whatever punishment is available to me.
Freshman Senator Alyssa Slotkin says the party has a different policy prescription to fix what's troubling the country.
America is not perfect, but I stand with the majority of Americans who believe we are still exceptional.
The president remains at the White House today. Vice President J.D. Vance, though, heads to Texas to talk border security. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
All right, now to break it all down, joining us is political strategist Jacquie Jordan back here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, Jacquie. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, how are you? So much to talk about.
Oh, boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so much to talk about. You know, the first thing I hear with the criticism of Trump's speech, which I happen to think was really fantastic, was that it was so long. But that's what he does, is he lays it all out. He takes his time, and we've been watching rallies now for years, you know, some of them lasting for 3 hours. He also knows how to hold an audience. His practice of transparency is really quite exceptional. I mean, to be able to take cameras into the room, we're used to seeing the State of the Union address, of course, on the Tuesday night, 1st of March for the United States president. But, you know, he takes the cameras into the room when, you know, he's meeting with leaders of different countries. And so there's a lot of transparency, and you get to really see from behind the scenes what is happening. I also feel that President Trump is really bringing dignity back to the president, you know, the White House, to the Oval Office, and just even to the whole entire process of our country's how we do things. And I think that's really fantastic. If you've ever been to a Trump property, you can also just see his impeccable ethics in terms of how things are run, and then the people that participate with his businesses are like polite, well-mannered, well-dressed, well-representative of professionalism. And I think that this is what he is restoring to this administration. And I think that's the grace and elegance that the First Lady is bringing back to the White House. And by opening up the White House and making it more public, these are the type of things that we're seeing with the administration. And even though it may be subtle and unrecognizable in the moment, you know, they're definitely making a stance on that. And in terms of the Democrats, this is the Democrats that we've been participating with in the last decade, I would say. You know, these are the Democrats that, you know, went to the Capitol and then bent the knee. You know, these are things that you would see in a president administration. You know, they put their hand over their heart and they say the Pledge of Allegiance. So, you know, to see that type of disruption in the Capitol last night while the president was doing his address is not a surprise from that party. The ladies wore pink because they are protesting women and children. But I think that you can just see both in President Trump's businesses and within his administration, he's done so much to elevate women. You can see, he's got to put Kelly Loeffler at the head of the SBA. He's got Tulsi Gabbard in. The woman who runs his administration is a woman. So he definitely pushes women forward, and then he really makes children a priority. And it's also been the First Lady's initiative too, is they really take, they've got he's talking about death penalty for anybody who does crimes against children. So he's taking a very severe approach to it, as he talked about in his address last night, that they're no longer going to be able to transition minors, which is also protection of children. So the demonstration of wearing pink was is polite, it's nice, but I think that President Trump and his administration is really taking the lead on a lot of these issues.
With regard to all of the events that unfolded last night, it was definitely a made-for-TV movement. We're going to move on to tariffs, Jacquie. In this case, let's talk tariffs.
He was the host of The Apprentice.
We'll talk tariffs, and more tariffs. Yet again, another made-for-TV moment. In this case, we know that Trump has imposed a number of tariffs on several countries, and as a result, those countries in return now imposing tariffs on the good old U.S. of A. Experts now warning those trade wars will raise prices for consumers. Jacquie, your take on this?
Well, I've been reading that, and I'm very fascinated by economics. What I really value, I'm a business owner myself, and Guy, I've spoken about this on previous conversations. But he's running the country like a solvent business. No successful business owner stays in business if they're not solvent at some point, and that's really what he's been pushing for. So tariffs is what I'm witnessing, is he's making the country solvent, and not giving money away to other nations for fun and for free, which has been complaining about the Ukraine give, which was a loan to Ukraine, but not by Europe. It was a loan, but not by the U.S. And so by imposing tariffs, outside is, he's making trade deals. And so he's really reworking the way that we have given money out to different countries and not gotten anything back. And I think that, being solvent is what makes a successful country. I mean, that's how you make a family successful, is you have a solvent, successful family, and then you would do that with a business. So this is just, economics, black and white economics. It's very smart strategy, and there might be a consequence. I think I read that hot chocolate was, from Canada will not be imported to the United States. So I think there's going to be some consequences. I don't think this is going to go without hitches or without maybe some discomfort in certain trades or certain, but I think that it's a really smart business tactic, because we cannot keep incurring $1 trillion deficit and running operation expenses at this level of loss. And be sustainable. If we're talking about women and children, this is something that we're going to be pushing forward, down, kicking the can down to generations to come. And this is definitely something I wouldn't want to see future children and generations have to pick up that debt.
Yeah, I think we can all agree with that. Jacquie, I got about 3 minutes left now. I want to make sure I get to these last two questions, one of which happens to surround more layoffs on the way for the Internal Revenue Service, which is reportedly planning to slash its workforce by, get this, 90,000 employees. That's in half. Is this the right move yet again by the Trump administration?
Oh, heck yes. Heck yes. I think what he's doing is he's taken the burden of funding the federal government. And this is, I'm using just simplest terms, but taking the burden off of funding the federal government on the backs of the American workers, and he's putting it into the trade economy, and that's why we're seeing the tariffs. And to fund a policing department that then chases the individuals for their taxes. I think that all Americans, this is my metaphor, and I know we're short on time, Guy, but I've never been a fan of metered parking in cities for commerce. I feel like if you're going to pull up and park your car and go in and provide or do shopping at a retail service or a restaurant, you should be parked for free. Why are you being criminalized for participating. Now, of course, if you take advantage of it, that's different. And that's kind of what I always thought about income taxes. And of course, from a libertarian perspective, they would, of course, say that we've never had the right to tax our American citizens to begin with. So I think this is a great rewrite in economy, and I know many would agree with President Trump's plan.
Jackie, with regard to that comment about parking outside of a restaurant for free, with that, I say Jackie for president. I agree with you.
There you go.
Hey, we'll end with this, Jackie, and that is a divided Supreme Court today rejected President Trump's administration request to keep billions in foreign aid approved by Congress frozen. Now, the court did not immediately say when the money must be released. Yet again, the question is this a major blow to the Trump administration?
I think it's a major blow. I think it's checks and balances. So obviously the Supreme Court will always, be the legislative branch that then looks at whether the executive branch or the judicial, or the legislative branch is doing the right thing, or the administrative branch. So, I think this will iron itself out. I think it's a freeze, and we'll see what comes from it at this point.
Good stuff. Always love having you on. Jacquie Jordan.
Oh, thank you, Guy. Appreciate it.
Joining us right here on The Live Zone. Always good to see you, Jackie. Make it a great day.
You too.
All right.